All right, ready first. We're going to do the second podcast on Company Commander lessons learned from our sticks and live fire. We already did the plan. Now I want to talk about prep. You have this checklist I sent you. We're going to go through it line by line. It should take about 10 minutes. And really, it's talking about what actions either prior to rolling to your assembly area or during your assembly area procedures. Starting with priorities of work and tracking. XOs. You're going to take your company commander's priorities of work. You're going to assign a time standard to those and then track them by platoon to fruition. If someone doesn't meet a time standard, then you need to enforce that prior to the next time standard so that no one gets too far behind. It's very important that this is enforced so that when the commander goes to LD, all of the directions that he's given or she is given are accomplished and nobody's surprised. Next, PCCs and PCIs. We need to conduct PCCs. Young NCOs, senior enlisted soldiers, need to execute the PCCs. That can be getting your weapons lubed, making sure your storm is operational, make sure your radios are filled, you have proper battery, and everything is ready to go. Those will be pre-combat checks. And then we have pre-combat inspections. At the company level, the fastest way to do that is form a team with your medic, your mechanic, your supply sergeant, your first sergeant, your XO, and yourself. And then you descend on a platoon for 15 or 20 minutes. And in that time, you can really get to see what the platoon has done well and what they haven't. And then when you find a deficiency, you give them a suspense to correct that deficiency, and you check them again. Dismounted kits. What are we dismounting with when we get off the striker? Well, who's carrying a SCEDCO? What is in the breech kit? What does an AG need? Binos, tripod, spare barrel. What is everyone supposed to be carrying? And then if you're going to IMT across the objective, is the breech kit going with you, or are you dumping it at the ORP or maybe with the weapons squad leader? What is happening with that equipment as we work through the entire operation? You need to direct that as a company commander. Raven cards. There's CONUS cards and no CONUS cards. Make sure that you have the CONUS card to fly your Raven. If not, the map data is going to be incorrect and you're going to lose it. Next, graphics. You got to make sure that everyone has your graphics and that squad leader has a dismounted map and he's carrying the graphics or she's carrying the graphics, as well as the other members of your platoon, your vehicle commanders. They all have them. They're in JCR and they allow you as a company commander to direct movement. So you go through and you make sure that everybody has those. Next, prep, Class 8. From your IFAC, your combat lifesaver, your aid bags, who's inspecting it, who's making sure that you have what is needed should someone get injured on this operation. 256 kits, M9 paper, M8 paper. Really, you need to make sure that during the prep phase, everyone is distributed these across the formation and they have what is going to be necessary to detect what type of chemical munition, if any, is fired, and then allow you to get out of MOP 4. Battle Drill 33. Rehearse Battle Drill 33. At every short haul, every long haul, every IV line, someone's getting out of the vehicle, either clearing the IV line or just providing local security, overwatch for your brothers as they maneuver. You're covering their move with javelin fire. Casualty theater cards, make sure they're filled out, make sure they're on there. It's part of the PCI checklist, but as we saw during the company lanes, not everybody had them. Make sure that we're doing that. And rehearse vehicle marking. So if you have a litter urgent, what the VS-17 panel goes on the top. That's what I want you to use, and you got to make sure that you are prepped and ready to go. Tac sets. For those of you that have tac sets, you got to make sure that you can touch the bird and that you are communicating over the tac set, get radio checks for that. We forgot that in a couple cases. Company drill for a traffic control point or some sort of short defensive position. You all have wire, you have range cards, you have sector sketches. What are you using? What do you have on your vehicle to make sure that you can do that very quickly if called to do a wide area security mission? Make sure that you have that on hand. React to contact. Remember, we talked about it. By phase line, by types of contact, you have to rehearse this. During the prep phase, make sure that your soldiers are rehearsing it, the platoons understand it, and the leaders can communicate it. Next, action drills. I told you, if you don't have a tac stop, then you got to put it in your coordinating instruction. When the enemy situation changes, how can you react quickly so that you can either action right with one platoon, two platoons, one left, one right? How are you going to do that to action based on setting a support by fire, using the indirect fire and direct fire of the support by fire, as well as the terrain to maneuver to a assailable flank and defeat your enemy? Miles lethality. During the prep phase, you have to test your miles, perfect your miles, bore start your miles at range. Your javelins should be killing out to 2 kilometers. Right now, we've had some success out to about 1,700, and others only about 1,000. So you need to continue to work proficiency in that area. Long-range radio checks. You need to send a vehicle out. Send a platoon 14 kilometers away and talk back and forth. It's imperative. And if it's not working, get new equipment. Your commo has to work for us to fight. JCR proficiency. What we learned was not all of you are proficient in JCR. You don't know how to ship graphics. You don't know how to do the reporting. Make sure that it's not just one person in the platoon that's going around filling all the JCR with graphics. Everyone develops that proficiency. Recovery operations. During the prep phase, rehearse recovery. Where's your toe straps? How are you going to pull someone out that gets stuck? You got to go ahead and rehearse that so that when it does, you are trying to winch someone at 2 in the morning on a night operation, that you know how to do it safely and quickly so you can get back in the fight. Binos and compass. Carry a compass. Carry your binos when you get off your vehicle. You're going to need them. You don't maybe realize it here, but when you need a compass and it's still on the striker, it's too late. When you need your binos, it's too late. Bring them with you. And lastly, the RWS. Prep your RWS. Talked about a little bit in the PCIs and PCCs, but that RWS is a stabilized platform that's basically a sniper rifle for your 50 cal Mark 19. Make sure that you have accurate range and that you know how to troubleshoot it. All right, so now we've done plan. That was prep. Next one's on the execution. Ready first.